Designing a board game is not easy at all. Um, I'm talking about this today because that's why I started a board game, designing a board game. Um, I was thinking that it was gonna be super easy. Just 1 month, I will have my first game out there, not even prototype. That's what I was thinking. So for everyone out there who wants to start their own board game business, let's say, I'm referring to you, and I'm going to explain today a little bit of the challenges that you have for when designing a board game. I mean, the idea, coming up with an idea and a story, it's easy. That's the easy part. But making everything work together and having like a story attached to it, it's the difficult part. So it's like the mechanic, you have to think about the mechanics of the game, the components, decide which components you're going to use for each game mechanic, and then you have to come up with a story that blends everything together. And a simple bad mechanic can ruin the whole game. Or if you add a new rule, every time you add new rules, or you, oh, I like this rule, if you remember new rules, it might break something else, or it might make the game unbalanced. So, for example, if you like have a rule where you're giving points, and then you add a new rule where you're giving more points or less points than anticipated, all the players can like um, follow that new rule that you added, and they're gonna like ruin the game experience if it's like too easy to get points, for example. That's what I mean by unbalancing the game with new rules. Um, and then the most important thing that you always hear is playtesting. Don't take this for granted, but it's like super important indeed. You have to playtest. Every time you playtest, you come up with people like give you new ideas, new things that you didn't think about when you were like when you're in your mind, and it's super important to play test all the time whenever you're adding a new rule or a new regulation, or um, even a new component. Like ask your community, ask your friends, and that's super important part of this journey. So, but also it's challenging because you need to find people who have time, who are willing to play with you, willing to play your new game, all together have the same time period, organize this with playtesting. But there are some groups and Discords, uh, messaging groups where you can like ask for help for that. And the community is really helpful, the board game community. So yeah, but if you want to play it physically, it's even more difficult. You have to ask for local events and local playtesters. That's a challenge as well. You have to be willing to listen, though. If you're not willing to listen to your beta players, beta uh, testers, then it's not going to be useful. It's going to be good for you. You have to like let go your ego and whatever you have, like, and just be willing to listen. Like this is where the best feedback comes from playtesting and from actually seeing players. Oh, I find this difficult. Don't take it for like with lighthearted. Like it's difficult. When someone says difficult, then keep it in mind. It's difficult. Or I don't like this. Blah blah blah. The way you do it, or it's too many numbers, too many pieces here. Just don't say, he doesn't know. He doesn't. He's one of your he's one of your clients. It's like, yeah, of course you have to find like some players who like who love board games, but even if you don't, like novice game players should be easy for them to catch up the game and get it easily. So please listen to your playtesters. Yeah, this. But another challenge is after you proven the mechanics work, everybody loves it, playtesting many times, many hours, then you have to print it, right? And that's another challenge by itself. You have to find graphic design. It's like hiring. You have to hire different people, spend money, do some, maybe some people do bad work for you, and you lose money, and you lose time trying to interview people, like speak to them, clear your thoughts, and have, hiring good artists, graphic designers, whatever, for implementing your game. It's still another challenge if you want to do it well. Also, the components. What you're gonna choose? Are you gonna choose like a spinner or a dice? You have to like print those things and show it to people as well, like have a prototype. And then there is another challenge to find your manufacturers. Like you have to try different things. Some people might not design it the way you want, the way you imagine, and you might lose some money there too. Until it's a hiring process as well, like finding the right manufacturer for your game. And yeah, that's another thing to be aware of. The printing phase takes time as well. Sampling, making a product, I thought it would be easy, but it takes months to like back and forth. This is what you want, yeah, this color, blah blah. It should be this, exactly this. There should be bleed on the cards. You have to add bleed, and many other things and challenges that you have to deal with when dealing with manufacturers. And then you have to arrange the shipping. You have to arrange shipping to, first of all, content creators. Your game is going to be nothing, unknown, if you don't advertise it and show it to the people. How do you show it? You have to send a couple of copies to content creators, their own audiences. So that's a challenge as well, like getting all those in, finding the right content creators for your game as well. It's another hiring process. You have to go through many people, see, okay, what's their profile, what do they look like, what kind of content they do, is the right content creator for me or not? And that's a challenge by itself as well. And coming with a shipping cost and all these things. Yeah, and yeah, it's then when you're done with the game, crowdfunding or whatever, shipping to the end client, it's also a big challenge, because you have to find the right fulfillment centers there. You have to be aware of shipping costs, warehouse fees, packaging fees, logistics, returns fees, VAT, import tax, stamp duty, fulfillment centers all around the world. They have different kinds of fees, and you have to like charge your clients the right amount, otherwise you're gonna lose a lot. So that's another risk there. And then you have the problem with the physical items. If you don't sell the amount you printed, then you have to pay warehouse fees. You have to you have also another problem with physical items. You have an error, a printing error. You have to replace those items. So you have to that's another problem with physical items. And if you have missed items along the way, shipping companies miss items sometimes. You have complaints. You have to reply. You have to do all these things, returns and refunds. So it's not easy. It takes time. That's why I have huge respect for board game designers, and it's a big thing, and the biggest risk after you finish is you don't know if people are gonna like it, and that's the worst fear of all designers. You spend all this time, you play tested, you've done your best, and then you don't know if anyone is willing to buy it or if it's going to be a success or not. So that's my 2 cents on that. I hope you found something useful, and see you next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.